FEE-NOM walks quietly through hollow hearth, a place where comfort performs like truth, and everyone wears a mask, even when no one's watching. The deeper he walks, the louder it gets, but none of it feels real. The lights smile, the signs cheer, but something's off. However, not everyone watches with worry. Some just want to see how far he'll go before mediocrity and hopelessness tries to break him. Closer now, not just to the summit, but to the world built by those who made it. Back in the carnival, everything spins, everyone smiles, but no one moves forward. Some don't fight the fetid illusions. They build castles on its terms and trade wisdom over luxury. Even ego didn't expect it. But success? Sometimes he doesn't wait for the system of failure to break you. He decides when it's time to test you. It feels like flight, looks like freedom, but the deeper the drop, the harder it is to remember why you got on. It sells like a thrill, sounds like approval, but every drop is powered by noise, and the louder it gets, the easier to lose yourself in the ride of illusions. He reached the bottom, but didn't beg for another turn. Somewhere between the noise and the lights, he remembered why he came. They laughed, they cheered, they spun louder than truth. But he didn't look back, because he knew none of it was for him. Everything slowed, not because time changed, but because he did. Behind him, comfort kept spinning, but he finally saw it for what it was. The corridor stretched on, but the end was no longer a question. He didn't run, he didn't flinch, just one slow step at a time toward whatever waited beyond. He didn't just see someone, he saw himself, waiting. Not the mask, not the myth, just the version that remembered who he was before the noise. He turned the corner, and the reflection followed. Not ahead, not behind. For the first time, his steps and his truth moved together. Each mirror held a piece, a smirk, a sigh, a scar. Not one showed the whole, and still he kept walking, refusing to settle for fragments. Now far from the mirrors are halls that never reflect, where power speaks in hushed tones and silence feels like praise. Here, ego reclines, and success, he watches everything. He stepped back, not from fear, but from something he remembered. The mirrors had shifted, but the stories they whispered still tried to follow, reflecting nothing but the cold reality of the hallway. Behind him, the carnival still spun, but ahead, a door he hadn't noticed before opened on its own, not with welcome, but with a question. He stood at the threshold between noise and silence, spectacle and truth. Behind him sung laughter on a loop. Ahead, something quieter but far more real. He stepped fully in, and the door stayed open. Then, a flicker, a presence. His eyes locked not in fear, but in knowing. Something suddenly told him to turn. The door had opened wider, as if the carnival wanted one last chance to be chosen. But he didn't move. He'd seen enough. It tried to say mediocrity, but even the system of failure misspells its own name, because deep down it never wanted you to see it clearly. Some doors don't open for answers. They open to test if you carry the courage to walk through illusions made of doubt and fear. Whispers slither through the walls. Graffiti stares back like memories that never left. This isn't just a mental way, it's a question in disguise, daring him to keep walking. This mental way remembers. Each painting a decision made, a truth ignored, a comfort once mistaken for clarity. And now they stare back, as if to ask, do you still believe what you once settled for? The mental way stretches farther now. And the masks, they don't just hang, they perform. Each one once worn, once believed, now stares in full color, begging him to forget who he really is. He runs not from what's behind, but from the weight of what he once wore. The mental way isn't chasing him, it's the walls, now etched with icons of approval, reminding him how heavy a like can be. He walks out, but the icons still follow, not in sound, but in silence, clinging to the corners of his confidence, like shadows shaped by old applause. Masks of ideation continue. Meanwhile, elsewhere, success doesn't run, He walks aggressively, through halls he designed, lined with proof. Now, even the walls salute. He made it through the mental way, not unscathed, but unchanged where it mattered. And now, on the bridge of life, he doesn't walk alone. Wisdom walks with him. In realms unseen, those who profit from the mask grow restless. Hopelessness seethes. Mediocrity calculates. Together, they conspire not just to stop him, but to twist what he's becoming. He found it beneath the steps, not hidden, just waiting. A mask shaped like a memory, heavy in his hand. Not because it's old, but because it still fits. They don't shout, they don't rush. They simply decide, and the world beneath them starts to shift. The corridor answers their will. Veins of light crawl across the walls, etching a path shaped by doubt and design. The next phase begins, not by choice, but by system. FEE-NOM walks forward, not for where he is, but for where this must lead. Each step writes the next chapter, and the masks already know what they'll try to erase. Mediocrity rises from the throne, no longer watching, but chasing. He doesn't walk, he hunts, because some dreams won't kneel, and that makes them dangerous. Now on the edge, FEE-NOM stands alone. The wind doesn't push, it asks, and before the next step, wisdom returns, not as memory, but as presence. At this height, the air speaks in silence. Beneath his feet, ancient glyphs stir, not carved, but remembered. The bridge of life answers not to footsteps, but to intention. And now, the water rises. Distant echoes fill the air, warped, otherworldly. From this height, the night feels alive. Behind him, the mountain still rises, and far in the distance, glass glints from success's fortress. Cobbled stones sing beneath him, echoes of a path carved long before he chose it. Far ahead, success's citadel rises, part city, part mirror. He walks not to reach it, but to remember why he must. Floating fragments drift across the path, echoes of missed shots, quiet regrets, and moments he nearly gave up. They don't speak, they just linger, as if asking, "Are you still carrying us?" So, he continues to walk, not to escape the past, but to prove he's no longer owned by it. The road ahead doesn't promise ease, only truth. Ego leaning forward. He's still walking, even after all that. Success smirking, relaxed. Some people run from the mirror, he just stares right through it. Ego in disbelief, success rises. Ego, eyes glowing. You think he knows what's next. Success, suddenly standing. He just chose the hard path, again. That means he's ready. Success continues. FEE-NOM wakes in a room that isn't his. Comfort surrounds him, but the faces, the masks they're watching. This isn't rest, it's a setup, and he knows it. Success continues, and that's how you know he's real. Most would stay, call it peace. He sees the trick in the comfort, and he's already planning his exit. Some don't run. They reflect until the world decides for them. She doesn't know it yet, but the mask is already shaping her face. Some didn't fall in one blow. They drifted from brilliance to beige. You can see it on their faces. These aren't murals, they're warnings. Some corridors don't end when you exit. They echo inside you, asking questions you thought you'd answered. The door isn't locked. That's the trick. It waits, pretending to be a choice. But everyone who's ever walked through it didn't decide to go. They were led. Some places don't echo with applause. They are the applause frozen in form. This isn't a showroom. It's where success parks memory like a trophy, waiting to be called into motion. Of course it said, "You've done enough." That's how I work. I don't stop dreamers, I slow them. Whisper comfort until they call it destiny. He knows. Not because he's scared, but because part of him wants to believe the lie. Even silence can sing. The faces begin to move, not to scare him, but to signal someone else is near. The one who tends to old dreams, the one who knows how easily they fade. Some doors don't open with creaks. They part with reverence, because what's waiting on the other side is older than fear itself. They don't speak in words, but every tree remembers. Every branch bends beneath a dreamer's doubt, and still he walks, not to conquer the path, but to prove he's still worthy of it. The roots retract, not in retreat, but in reverence. This isn't just a path, it's permission, and FEE-NOM has earned it. Thornweft was sent to discourage, summoned by a name that never shouts mediocrity. This isn't rage, it's calculation, a final try to stop what's already moving. FEE-NOM didn't flinch. He ran toward Thornweft, toward discouragement, doubt, and despair, because those who last don't wait for the challenge to fade. They charge towards it. They don't just watch, they remember. Every step reminds the roots who passed, and yet none bend to praise. This is the walk that measures who you've become. Mediocrity doesn't act alone. His lieutenants each, a dream once bright, now cloaked in ranks, titles, and fear. They serve not for power, but for what they've already lost. The lighting chills, signaling mediocrity's growing power, as men and women from all descriptions offer themselves to the mask. FEE-NOM descends into the spiral stairwell, his grip tightening on the braided memory railing. You saw the journey, but only a glimpse. Beyond these frames lies the truth that couldn't fit inside 3 minutes. In the novel edition of The Chase, The World of Masks, FEE-NOM doesn't just run through illusion, he descends into the very system that designs it. The microfilm was the key. The novel is the door. Step through. You'll meet the architects of distraction. You'll walk the bridge of life. You'll face what most avoid, yourself without the mask.